This video is all about taking a long word problem and shortening it to an equation. A student bought 2 juice pouches for $1.25 each and 3 bags of chips. The total cost was $5.05. What is the cost of a bag of chips? I start by underlining my question because that's going to determine what my variable is. My variable is my missing number. And since I'm looking for the cost of chips, my variable is going to be C. Since it told me that my total cost is $5.05, it means the cost of one thing plus the cost of another is going to give me $5.05. The first thing that the student bought was 2 juice pouches for $1.25 each. That means that he spent $2.50 on juice. The next thing the student bought was 3 bags of chips, which means that the student spent 3 times the cost of each bag of chips. That's where our variable comes in. Now that I have my equation, I can start solving for what C equals. I subtract $2.50 per side. And on the left side of my equation, I'm left with 3C. And on the right side of my equation, I'm left with $2.55. I then divide both sides by 3. And I get C to equal 85 cents. So the answer to my question, a bag of chips, is 85 cents. A plumber charges $55 for a service call plus $35 per hour. If the plumber's bill was $160, how many hours was he there? I start by underlining my question. Since that's what's missing, that's where we're going to pull our variable. We're searching for how many hours he was there, so our variable is H. The problem also tells us that he charged $55 for a service call plus $35 per hour to give us a total of $160. The $55 for a service call is going to be all on its own, and then it is $35 per hour, so 35 times the number of hours. Now that we have our equation, we can start solving. I subtract both sides by 55 to get rid of the 55 that's being added. I have 105 remaining on the right side and just a 35H remaining on the left side. After I divide both sides by 35, I get H to equal 3. A variable represents our missing number or our question. And since our question was how many hours was the plumber there, then my answer is that the plumber was there for 3 hours. A waiter earns $128 for 6 hours of work. The total included $86 in tips. How much does the waiter earn each hour? I start by underlining my question. That's going to tell me what my variable is going to be in this equation. We're trying to find out how much he earns each hour. So I'm going to use H, and maybe it might help to put a $sign next to it because it's an hourly rate. I know that the waiter earned a total of $128 for 6 hours of work. And since he gets paid by the hour, we multiply his pay by the hour by 6 to get how much he's going to earn altogether, and then we add the $86 in tip to get a total of $128. Now that we have our equation, it's time to start isolating our variable. I subtract 86 from both sides, and I have 6H equals 42 remaining. I divide both sides by 6, and I get H to equal 7. I look back to the original question. How much does the waiter earn each hour? And since I found H to equal 7, then I know that the waiter earns $7 per hour. Mr. Martinez rents a car for 1 day. The charge is $36 plus 18 cents per mile. Mr. Martinez has a budget of $60. How many miles can he drive? I start by underlining my question, and that's going to show me my variable. Since we're trying to figure out how many miles he can drive, my variable is going to be M. His budget is $60. That means he can spend no more than $60. I know that it's $36 plus 18 cents per mile. I start with my $36 to rent the car, and I add to that 18 cents times the number of miles he can drive. Now that I have my equation, I can start isolating my variable. I subtract 36 from both sides, and I have left 0.18m is equal to 24. I divide both sides by 0.18. I get m to equal 133.3 repeating. I look back at the original question. How many miles can he drive? And since m equals 133.3, I know that Mr. Martinez can drive 133 miles. 331 students went on a field trip. 6 buses were filled, and 7 students traveled in cars. How many students were in each bus? I underline my question, and I mark my variable. Since we're looking for the number of students in each bus, I'm making S my variable. I know that there was a total of 331 students going on the field trip. That's including bus kids and car kids. I know that 7 students traveled in cars, and there were 6 buses with S students per bus. Now that I have my equation, I can start isolating my variable. I subtract 7 on both sides to get 6s equaling 324. I divide both sides by 6, and I get s to equal 54. I look back at my original question. It's asking how many students were in each bus. And since S equals 54, I know there were 54 students in each bus.